Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. You know we talking boxing, so we got Burn here. We also got Hard War Bangers in the building. Man, before we get into this crazy event over the weekend, make sure you go to Spectator Sporting, subscribe to that YouTube page, hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments. We do reply. We appreciate all the love you guys give us. This fight was very unexpected. Majority of everyone, including everyone on this show, maybe not Julio, we didn't have Julio in the last one, but had Tank knocking out Lamont Roach. We was wondering, why is Tank fighting this opponent? Why is he not fighting somebody on equal level? But then the fight happened. And after the fight, most people had Tank losing to Roach, especially after the controversial knee to the canvas not being called a knockdown. Fight was ruled majority draw as Lamont Roach came to fight. Tank Davis is now 30-0-1, and Lamont Roach, my cousin, goes to 25-1-2. This was a controversial fight when they made it, and damn it, it's even twice as much more controversial now that they had the fight. So Hard War Bangers, I'm gonna start with you. What was your thoughts on this Roach versus Tank Davis fight?
To be honest with you, when I found out that he was fighting Roach, I'm pretty sure I had the same thought as everyone else. So you're probably like, well, who the hell is Roach? This is just gonna be another easy fight for Tank. So I felt like I would be surprised just like everybody else. I did not expect for Roach to come out and fight like that. I did not expect for it to be such a tough fight for Tank. And I say that to say that I had to look up Roach's boxing experience. So immediately after the fight, I didn't do it before the fight because I didn't expect anything from him. But after watching the fight, I said, all right, now I have to go see who this guy beat, who he lost to if he lost.
Right.
So he had some notable names on his win category, but he had one loss that I said, okay, well, who did he lose to? He lost to Jamal Herring. I don't know if you guys know this, but Jamal Herring lost to Shakur Stevenson. He got totally dominated, outclassed by Shakur Stevenson. After finding that out, it made me question, well, why would Tank fight him? That gives Tank a motive to fight Roach now. Now, I don't know if there's another backstory, but this is just something that I noticed. So I said, okay, so maybe Tank figured, well, if Shakur dominated, or excuse me, if this guy lost to somebody that Shakur dominated, then this is something that I could go out there and, you know what I mean, and use this sort of like, I don't know, some sort of wager to say this is how much better I am than, you know, Shakur, he ain't worth my time. Right. But it backfired. Yep. All right. So now it's like, you know, now it's like, oh, okay, well, who is Roach? Roach only loss I already mentioned. So I would say that Tank definitely underestimated Roach for that reason. Right. I would think he used that as a tool to judge who he's fighting and say, you know, this guy, you know, he lost to this guy. So I don't know. I still feel Tank will win the rematch. I think that the rematch isn't something that Tank would have to worry about, but I do feel that after that, I don't know if the rematch is immediate. I don't know if he wants to fight someone else or who that opponent may be, because if there's one thing we all know about Tank, he only fights people that he thinks he will look good in the ring with, or, you know what I mean, someone that doesn't really bring anything as far as opposition that he would put him in deep water.
That he'll struggle with.
So I think he was just as much surprised about Roach being a challenge than we were. I mean, I don't know, you know, the whole thing with the grease. And then his hairdresser said that was Wednesday and it shouldn't have had no grease in it, so it makes me, you know, then the ref, I don't know about the call. You know, he did blow a call. He did blow a call. The knee. He
called a timeout.
But this is a well-seasoned ref. So this isn't a ref known for PBC. Yeah, but this ref has been in there. He done called some serious fights. Man. So I say that to say, like, what the hell? It's hard to explain what happened. But I can tell you this: if the shoe was on the other foot, had it been Roach that took the knee, then it would have most certainly been a knockdown.
You could, definitely.
He started counting.
Right.
Definitely.
And I'm almost sure there's some more rules as to interacting with the corner during the fight. So that
as well,
you know what I mean? You got that. then he did it multiple times. I don't know, he like went to the corner again and did it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he did it multiple times. So for him not to take a point, or you know what I mean,
right.
some sort of disciplinary action, you know, it's hard to say. But that's my thoughts on the.
Did you disagree with the draw, the majority draw?
Okay, good question. All right, so I had it scored originally 114 and 114.
Okay.
But that's without them taking a point for the knockdown.
Right.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but that was round 9. In that round, 2 judges scored that round for Tank. So what that means is if that knee would have counted as a knockdown, Roach would have most certainly won the fight.
That's automatic 10-8.
By
That's automatic 10-8.
2 points.
2 points. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I disagree with it. I think they stole. I think Roach is the rightful winner based off of that assumption.
Absolutely. You bring up some good points about overestimating maybe his opponent, whatever. You just look at how he was going into the fight. It just, the interviews he was having, it just wasn't right. And Byron has been pointing, I got to give Byron credit because he has been pointing out a lot of this stuff. And you know, as a Tank fan, I was like, but he's been on point with it. So Byron, what's your thoughts? You said he's fighting these tomato cans, and we always say on the show, you keep fighting tomato cans, eventually one of those tomato cans is gonna get you. Yeah. You know, you gotta be careful. So Byron, talk about this.
I wanna immediately disagree with my partner right here. I don't think Tank has this depth of, you know, wanting to go after an opponent. I think Tank picked Lamont Roach because there was he was familiar with him. You know, in sparring and growing up, it was a guy that he felt that he could catch, he could dominate, didn't have a lot of pop. But Lamont Roach made this the fight of his life. And he came out there and, you know, another disagreement, I don't think it was a draw at all. I think if you give this fight a draw, you have to stretch so far into your imagination to make this a draw, because the aesthetics of this fight was Tank got beat. Simple as that. He was not the aggressor. He did not back Roach up. Roach commanded the center of the ring and he dominated off the front foot. Every single time Tank had a offensive, we can't even call it a barrage, because for a 135-pound fight, the punch totals were minuscule at best. Mm-hmm. Roach landed 112 shots and Tank landed 103. And to put that in perspective, the 154-pound bout that we saw a few weeks ago with Madrimov and Verge Ortiz, both fighters outpunched these guys. Mm-hmm. So for a 135-pound fight, this was very, very tentative. It was a very tentative fight, and I feel like the fight was tentative because there was complications in the training with Tank Davis. He had a lot of problems. No, I wouldn't call it problems, but his main trainer wasn't training him for this fight. Yeah. And, you know, we didn't really go into it on the first show, but when you saw the chaos that was going on in the ring in the championship rounds, with him literally going back to the corner and arguing with people, like, they weren't on the same page. And as far as another thing with the draw, you know, because I know a lot of you you stands. You piss me off for days. So I am so happy. I lost my voice Saturday screaming and watching this BS that I did not pay for. But
what did you score the fight?
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, all right.
I had Roach winning rounds 1, 2, 7, 8, and 12. I think these are the rounds that you're gonna say Roach won these rounds because there's no and really it was because Tank didn't have any type of rounds. I'm not done. Okay. Let me cook.
Okay.
And then so for certain I had Tank winning rounds 3, 4, and 6. Now I am not saying that this was a landslide victory for Roach, but you had 4 swing rounds in this fight. Rounds 5, round 9, 10, and 11. Mm-hmm. And in these rounds, there were only 1 punch, and sometimes the punch totals were the same. Mm-hmm. The only difference in this fight was the actual output. And that is Lamont Roach brought the fight to Tank Davis. And even the broadcasters were saying it. They saw a Tank that actually let Lamont Roach stand in front of him. And he wasn't doing anything. But the one thing Roach did was keep his jab pumping. And even though it wasn't landing, he only landed 25 jabs for the fight. But he kept the jab in Tank's face, which kind of left Tank at a standstill. And when he did throw, he was countered immediately. I haven't, in those fight, like in these 4 swing rounds, I'm like, if you look at them, you give 2 to Tank, you give 2 to Roach. And I had it 7-5 Roach. I had it 115, 113 for Roach, and that's without the BS in the 9th round. I disagree with the judges giving him the 9th round because clearly, if you watch the 9th round, which I've watched 3 times, Tank was hurt. He was hurt in that round. And so I'm not giving Tank that round because Tank did not hurt Roach in that round. He got hurt in that round. And then even the fight numbers, I think Tank landed 1 more shot in round 9. But he got out-punched and he got clearly hurt. So much so, he had to go to his corner. And there wasn't no grease in his eyes. You know, I'm not going to get into the whole Brader versus fighter argument, but this man was clearly hurt 3 times in this fight. And he did not have a time where he hit Roach, hurt Roach. I think Tank's best round was, I'll say round 6. Round 6 was his best round. And the best swing round, a round that a lot of people might have gave Roach, I gave him was round 11. And the reason why I gave him round 11 was because I felt like he landed the more significant power shots in that round. But that's a round where they both hit each other 17 times. And then you go after that 11th round into the 12th round where you get dominated and Roach gives his best round of the fight in the last round of the fight. I will argue to the window, to the wall with anybody who say this fight was a fucking draw. This fight was not a draw. This was the PBC's main cash cow robbing a Rocky moment from Lamont Roach. And this is not a knock on Lamont Roach. You know, I apologize if he feels like the commentary was a bit disrespectful. I feel like Lamont Roach is a good 130-pound fighter. I don't think Lamont Roach is going to be relevant at 135, but I think Lamont Roach can beat Tank Davis. And I think he can beat Tank Davis because Tank Davis is fighting too tentative. And this is something that I've alluded to many times before when we talk about him. He takes off too many rounds. And you take off too many rounds against a guy who wants to win rounds like a Shakur, like a Keyshawn Davis, who can push you in the championship rounds, and you're going to lose those fights. They claim that Tank Davis didn't even know what round it was in the 12th round. They thought, like Tank Davis thought that it was the 8th round. And I really felt like he was getting clipped with shots that were hurting him. And so if 130-pound Lamont Roach can hurt you, what does a Keyshawn Davis do to you? What does a Santos do to you? Somebody that Shakur has been saying, fight Santos. Santos got popped. Like fight these guys. And he's not fighting these guys. And I swear Saturday, we see why.
Man, crazy fight.
Can I ask a question?
What's up?
It's directed to Brian over there. Okay, so you scored the fight 7-5. And you say you disagree with anyone who says that it was a draw.
I don't know how you're gonna have to tell me how you're gonna grade it a draw.
It's not a rebuttal or anything.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't see it.
It was a close fight.
It was a close fight.
You scored it 7-5.
Yeah.
That's only 1 point off from a draw.
Yeah.
So technically, when it's that close, a draw is a high.
No, and this is why I'm throwing this in as well. The aesthetics of the fight. We all understand that judges are flawed creatures. Like, come on. Shout out to Riyadh season. We know bad judges. And I'm not I'm not saying that I anticipate bad judges, but you know that judges look at the fight differently.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about the aesthetics of this fight. I'm talking about watching this fight from round 1 to round 12. And you can tell me that you saw at a point that Tank dominated 4 to 5 rounds of this fight. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Even the rounds he won, 3, 4, and 6, were later in the fight. And you can give him 2 in the championship rounds where I guess it was kind of like boost the ass, and his guys in his corner was like, look, you need to turn it up. Because I'm thinking that they're like, look, you losing this fight. Right. And there was no sense of urgency. there was no championship like taking over, and then he got his ass smoked in the 12th round. And Lamont Roach was not down in the fight at that moment. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, the aesthetics of this fight, I'm not giving this fight to Tank Davis. You got your ass whooped in the 12th. And it was a close fight. And you got your ass whooped.
Okay. I want to pull up the judges' official scorecards. If you guys don't mind.
Hold on. We can do that. Okay, we're going to get to you right quick now.
Yeah. No, I just want to say, like, the first 6 rounds of this fight, it wasn't a lot of action going on.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the second half of this fight, Lamont Roach, the Reaper Lamont Roach, he turned up and he increased his punch output significantly, okay? And in the 8th round, he landed a nice counter right hook, which rocked Tank Davis. All right, that's one of the highlights of the fight when he rocked Tank Davis in the 8th round.
Yeah.
Then the 9th round, that's the controversial 9th round. Okay, that's when
he clipped him again.
Yeah, Lamont Roach, he hit him with a right hook,
Yeah.
and then a few seconds later, Tank Davis takes the knee, and then the referee, he started counting, but he didn't rule it a knockdown. You can't take a knee, you can't get hit. A lot of people, fighters get punched and have a delayed reaction and go down, so he pretty much was cheated. All right,
Yeah.
But like Byron was alluded to, Lamont Roach did an excellent job at closing out this fight in the championship rounds, especially in the 12th round, where he outlanded Tank Davis 16 punches to 9. That was his best round of any fight.
That was huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, Tank Davis only outlanded Lamont Roach in rounds 3, 5, and 6. That's it. That's the only rounds that Gervonta Davis outlanded Lamont Roach. So unofficially, Tank Davis lost this fight. Okay.
Yeah.
But thanks to 2 of the 3 judges in the 9th round that gave Tank Davis that 9th round when he took the knee.
Which is crazy.
Yes. Yeah. and the referee Steve Willis, because we see people go down like we saw earlier. Ryan Garcia when Tank punched him and then he went down later like that.
Delayed reaction. It happens a lot. It happens.
We saw Martin McCauley go down later against Joseph Parker. Okay, and so now the signs of an upset was looming before the fight. Like Roach was talking about, the trainer Calvin Ford being replaced with Barry Hunter. That was a red flag right there. Calvin Ford was his trainer for a long time. Then all of a sudden Barry Hunter's your trainer. Okay, and then showing up super late for the media workout. Okay, everybody's waiting for Tank in the gym. He shows up 2 hours late, super late. He goes into the ring. Now Lamont Roach, he did his little workout in front of the media. Tank Davis didn't do it. He just asked us a few questions and jumped out the ring and walked away. No media workout. Okay, and then if you think about Dimitri Bivol, when reporters was asking him about Canelo rematch and about David Benavidez coming up to 175, before his fight against Artur Beterbiev, he was like, look, I'm not talking about that. I don't want to talk about Mexican Monster, Canelo. I'm just focusing about Artur Beterbiev. That's it. That's what Tank Davis should have did. He should have been talking about shit about Shakur. I ain't fought nobody. And Keyshawn Davis.
He did an hour interview.
Yeah, and talk about trashing Haney and all these
trashing
people.
Money Mayweather.
Crawford. Yeah, Money Mayweather, Crawford. Look, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be talking about these people. The only people you should be thinking about is Lamont Roach. That's it. So he was distracted. He was not trained like he was supposed to, and he even admitted it because he made a tweet saying, remember he said the fight is canceled on a tweet? He said he made that because he wasn't training hard enough and he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do. He just overlooked this guy and he just, I don't know, man. He like you said, that passion, that heart and all that. I don't know where it's at.
I'm going to give Lamont Roach some credit though because, he came, whatever Tank was going through, that was Tank's business. Lamont Roach came ready to fight. So regardless of anything that Tank did or what he wasn't doing, Lamont Roach came, and I agree with everybody. I think he won the fight 115, 113. I definitely do. We talking about Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, a majority draw. Tank Davis now goes to 30-0-1. His first fight that he stepped out where he did not win the fight actually, so technically he's not undefeated. So now Tank, it's been a thing with Tank. After he beat the Ghost, it was supposed to be Lomachenko. That fight didn't happen, so now he's kind of in limbo. He found Lamont Roach, and then just going like we all talked about it, just the way he went into this fight, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like he was really focused. He was bringing up retirement, talking about I'm only going to fight one more fight. And then the fight happened. He did not look good. It wasn't the Tank that we normally see. give Lamont Roach credit. He came with a plan and everything. So, Adi, let's talk about Tank Davis. After this draw, he was probably the #1 man in the division. Now people are looking at him like, you got Keyshawn Davis bubbling, you got Shakur Stevenson bubbling. A lot of people looking at Tank like, oh, this might be food. Like, maybe are we getting to that point? Adi, talk. What's next for Tank? What should be his next move?
Well, listening to all those Tank Davis interviews before the fight, talking about retirement, it sounds like Gervonta Davis' passion, heart, and hunger to fight is going down the drain. Okay, it's like he's been tamed, and like Rocky 3. Can he find that eye of the tiger? Okay?
Yeah, right.
Now, Gervonta Davis, he's 30.
That was good. I ain't gonna front. That was good.
Apollo Creed was like, man, you gotta get the eye of the tiger back.
That was good. That was my movie too. That's why I laughed.
He need to watch Rocky 3. That's what Gervonta Davis said. Watch Rocky 3. It's very motivating. I'm telling you that right now. Okay? I got a fight coming up myself. But anyway, now, Gervonta Davis is 30 years old, and this right here is a pivotal point of his career.
Yep.
For the first time in his career, he looks vulnerable, okay? Because all this shit he was talking about before the fight, I was like, oh, he's just going to knock him out in the fight. Even, he's going to go in and knock him out. He's just talking shit. But now he looks vulnerable, okay? Yep. And now, does Lomachenko look at this and say, okay, let me go ahead and put a Tank victory on my resume real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Lomachenko might want to, he hasn't officially retired yet, not at this moment that I'm speaking. So he might look at this like, I know Tank supposedly dunked, you say Tank dunked Lomachenko before.
The first time he did.
Yeah. But then Lomachenko just dunked Tank in last year, but.
Payback duck.
Right. But so,
Lomachenko damn near 40 though.
He's 37, but anyway, now, Teofimo Lopez, all right, despite Teofimo Lopez saying all that racist bullshit, Tank Davis did say he would fight him, but Teofimo does have a fight coming up against the WBO interim champ, Arnold Barbosa, on May the 2nd, so then, now, Shakur Stevenson, all right, Tank Davis, he loses too many rounds against heavy underdogs. Yeah, so I don't know how he would look against Shakur Stevenson.
Look, you gotta look at it now.
I think he would need to knock Shakur out. I don't see him winning by points. You go to the judges with Shakur and Tank. I think it would be an extremely boring fight because Shakur is waiting to counterpunch you. He's just looking at you trying to counterpunch you, and Tank's doing the same thing. Tank is not really a brawler like that. He's kind of waiting to counterpunch too. So I think it would be really boring. And then you got Keyshawn Davis. He's possessed. He's a man possessed. And he looked like some man that you shouldn't bet against anyone at the 135 and 140 pound division. Yeah. All right. So now you got these lightweights and junior welterweights thirsty as hell to give Tank Davis his first loss. Who wants to be the first man to give him that first loss? Okay. Now, Tank Davis, fight or flight? What's it going to be?
Man, that's so definitely. The doors is open now. The doors is opening now. I'm in that division now. So Byron, I know you've been one of the main guys. What you do? Does Tank give the rematch to Roach, or should he go in a different direction?
Tank Davis made me wait to 1:45 Sunday morning to listen to his post-fight rant, and what he said Sunday morning was that he would not fight Roach next. And he had an opponent, but we would have to wait and see. And then as of today, he's now saying that he wants to prioritize a rematch with Roach because Roach is now, I think, actively going after a change of decision due to his blatant robbery. But what I can tell you about Tank Davis is PBC runs everything Tank related. And right now, PBC is sell. They want Tank in the most lucrative fight that he can fight. And the most lucrative fight that he can fight has to have Saudi money backing it. Because PBC don't got the bread to I think, bring in a Lomachenko. I'll be surprised if they did. But I think they would need help in making that fight so that the money checks out. Because right now, as Adi alluded to, Tank stock is falling very, very effing fast. because one, you know, there's no desire, it seems. Even though after the fight he proclaimed that now he wants to fight 4 more fights.
He don't know what he want to do.
He doesn't know what he wants to do. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And what I was trying to tell you guys, you know, you morons in the comment section, and it's not all of you. It's not all of you. There are 2 fan bases that I just truly do not like. And it's the Canelo Duck fan base, and it's the Tank Stand, Princess Toadstool fan base. Like, you guys do not watch boxing. You watch fights, and it's like y'all just put on a Tank Davis, I guess, like, interview mixtape in headphones, and you don't listen to anything, and you just watch the fight, and you kind of put things wherever you want them. Like, I've actually seen people say that, oh, you could clearly see him wiping the grease out of his eyes. And like listening to you guys like literally makes you dumber. So, you know, I don't live in imagination land, so I'm going to give you the straightforward. I really feel like the PBC is looking for the most lucrative fight. We had a back and forth about what the most lucrative fight is. I think right now, even though it will be a boring fight, according to you, I don't think so. But I think Shakur Stevenson is the only way you can go with Tank Davis. I don't think you want to get in another fight with Lamont Roach, because if Lamont Roach beats you, then you ain't got shit.
Or even if it's another close fight.
Yeah, if it's a close fight, it's
too risky to fight him.
You will literally be a co-main event on Jake Paul's next fight if you lose to Roach. Yeah. And you already lost to Roach. And so I think Shakur Stevenson is chomping at the bit to get you in the ring. And that's because, you know, he already felt like he could beat you. And I honestly, for the reasons that, you know, we are talking about now, while Lamont Roach was successful against you, I truly believe, and I said it last year on the show, that Shakur Stevenson was going to beat you this year. And I feel like he can beat you because of that. And it's because Tank Davis can't manufacture his harder shots. Not later in the fight. He has to fight a fighter that's backing up and getting away from him. If a fighter is sitting in his face, like Shakur Stevenson, who doesn't back up, he like makes you miss while standing in front of you, that's a hard fight for you, especially if you're making jabs and you're landing 3 and 4 punches for the first 6 rounds. You're not gonna beat Shakur Stevenson. And then with Keyshawn Davis, if you fight the fight that you fought Saturday against Keyshawn Davis, you're gonna get your ass knocked out. Because Keyshawn Davis is trying to knock out everybody at 135. Mm-hmm. And so it's like Adi alluded to. I think he took the wind out of my argument, because this is a pivotal point in your career. And I think the PBC governs his career. And PBC is trying to make the most money that they can make out of Tank Davis before he goes flying off the cliff. Which is what's going to happen.
This could be the beginning of the
end. And if it is the beginning of the end, they're going to want the most money possible. I guarantee you they're going to tell Saudi that they don't want to go over there, but they want to fight in Vegas. They want to fight at Barclays. And I think Turkey's going to make that fight, because Turkey's going to make a ton of money on that fight. And so I think that the Shakur fight is next, although I feel if you want to be a man and actually have me get a little more respect for you, you give Lamont Roach his fucking rematch. Because this guy earned that rematch. Because he beat your ass in the 12th round. Like, the aesthetics of that fight, but just getting your ass whooped in the 12th round should make Tank want smoke with him and want to put a nail in that coffin, so to speak. Like don't let the chapter go past Lamont Roach after that performance. But I think PBC runs this. I think he's going to fight Shakur Stevenson next. Shakur Stevenson was actually at the fight, and Tank Davis said in his post-conference that Shakur was actually in his locker room. So I think that fight is going to happen.
Yeah, that could be. I mean,
I think that was the plan, because he said he was going to announce a big fight after the Roach fight, and I think that's the fight that it was going to announce.
Let's go. It might still be happening. Hardwood bangers.
Hey, I mean, pretty much everything that you guys said. You haven't said anything that I disagree with yet, but there is one thing. I do not think that Tank will fight Shakur Stevenson next. And I have a couple of reasons why. All right. So first of all, didn't Shakur hurt his hand this last fight?
Yeah.
I doubt very seriously that
Hurt his hand every fight.
Right, but it wasn't major. And he said he did an interview and said it wasn't a major time off injury type.
Okay, well, I say that to say that I doubt very seriously that the fight with Tank would happen immediately after he's coming off a hand injury. Not that Shakur fights multiple times a year.
Tank ain't trying to fight till the fourth quarter this year. Anyway.
He was in a long drought before he fought Frank Martin. Then he was in another drought.
Do you think Shakur would be ready by that time?
Hell yeah. He hasn't. He said he hurt his hand, but it wasn't an injury. If I have to pull up the interview again and look at it. But he was interviewed and they asked him, like, how are your hands? And he said, my hands are good. He said, I kind of hurt it. It was a little numbness, but then I started using it and I was like, I finished him in the fight. And he was like, I was using my hand. So I don't think it's an injury where he's going to need, like, time off for it. I think he's good. Yeah. And if he has a fight, like, in September.
Or October.
Or October, which I don't think Tank's going to fight till then anyway, because he has to get the corner and all of that shit together. So I think he's ready.
Well. All right, well, I disagree. I don't think it's going to happen right away like that. But I do think that there's other options that's open for Tank. So Loma, who's available, right, hasn't fought in a while, but is available and has been in the gym. That's a fight I would love to see. With Tank
everybody would love to see that.
Absolutely.
And I think that would sell.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Shakur, I'm sure there's a lot of people that's interested in seeing that fight. But, man, I think Shakur, you know how you're saying that Tank's stock is on the way down a little bit? I think in many ways the same thing with Shakur a little bit. I think, like, his last 2 previous performances have been lackluster, to say the least.
I thought he had a great performance this last
Josh Padley, you got the TKO.
He got the TKO.
Yeah, but I mean,
and it wasn't his fault. That wasn't his fault.
And you're right, it's not his fault. But the fight before that was almost like everybody was falling asleep.
Artem Harutyunyan.
I think like you so you basically said from an entertainment standpoint, getting the fan base like whereas Tank, if Tank got the knockout, like at least you're gonna see that.
But the thing is,
I'm just saying,
Turkey Al-Sheikh has favor with Shakur Stevenson. So we're talking about the fans' perception. But if Tank is fighting Shakur Stevenson, that's a fight that's gonna sell.
Oh yeah, it'll sell.
So that's so when you say it's a boring fight, you're speaking from like what the fans.
Well, I say it's gonna be a boring fight.
Right, and you said
you kind of saying it.
I'm saying styles make fights.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Tank has to be like Adi said, Tank has to knock out Shakur to beat him. He ain't gonna outpoint him. So the more aggressive you are, the more you play into Shakur's hand. And when you have a defensive fighter that fights an overly aggressive fighter, the defensive fighter looks good and gets stops because he's hitting you with shots when you come in. Shakur is fast, man. And Lamont Roach is nowhere near as fast as Shakur Stevenson. And the shots that he was hitting Tank with, I'm like, Shakur would light him up. And he wouldn't hit him at no 12% connect rate. Like, Shakur could land 15, 20 shots on him around.
I think Lomachenko will light him up a little bit better than Shakur would, though. I mean, judging off of the Devin Haney fight, you know what I mean? It's a little bit more tenacity. It's a little bit more umph in the punches. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good fight. He has more. I think he has more pop though. But Shakur is a better defensive fighter. You're not hitting Shakur.
Well,
like we can't downplay. But I'm saying we can't downplay his little X-Man ability. Like it's everyone. I think people who aren't really into the sport and don't appreciate a 12-round fight with no knockdowns, they hate that. But people who love the sport of boxing and see this guy stand in front of guys, everybody talks about the De Los Santos fight and how boring. I didn't think that was boring. I thought it was crazy. I thought it was crazy seeing De Los Santos, as aggressive as he is, not be able to hit a one-handed fight.
I'll tell you what, and this is just me being honest, regarding Shakur Stevenson. Out of all his fights, I literally can honestly say I've only seen one fight that made me a fan of Shakur. The rest of them turned me off from him.
Was it Valdez?
No, it was Jamal Herring. When he fought Jamal Herring, that's the Shakur Stevenson I want to see in the ring. all these other Shakur Stevenson.
He's had some head issues. He just had surgery.
It's understandable. It's understandable,
So,
but I'm saying that's the guy that people want to pay to see. You see what I'm saying? That's the fight that's what people are paying for. You know? Now, it's still the game of boxing. He's technically still boxing and winning fights by boxing.
He's a champion. He's undefeated. You gotta see him.
Yeah. You're right. It ain't no argument to that.
You gotta see him.
You gotta see him. But there's only, 3 good names left in the 135-pound division as compared to, we got 10 names, but out of the 10 names, there's only 3 names that's recognizable in the 135-pound division. The names are Keyshawn Davis, Loma, and Shakur Stevenson. And that's, Tank included, so it's 4 names, but it's actually 3. The rest of the guys...
And then Williams Zepeda.
Yeah, but Williams Zepeda...
I mean, he's 5'9", 67 and a half.
He's coming off a shaky outing against Tevin Farmer.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what I want to see.
Farmer's not a bad team.
That's who I hope Keyshawn Davis gets. I think I hope he goes after Williams Zepeda and just okay, now I hold 2 belts. So whatever Tank does next, I want the winner of it.
No, I want Shakur and Zepeda. That's what I want.
I want to see that too.
Yeah.
Well, let me just play the optimistic side, the opposite side of this. This might have been the best thing that happened to Tank in his career. Because he was really pushed to the line and it was really questioned since
I wouldn't say for Tank.
Well, I would say this might refocus him, get him back hungry again. Because I don't care. The reason why, of course, yesterday he didn't say, no, I'm not giving a rematch. The reason why he came today, I think, and said, I give him the rematch, we can even do it in May, is because he know what happened in that ring. Yeah. He knows what happened. And he's not confident that he can go out and say that he actually won the fight. And it's bothering him. So if that's the case, then he's gonna train better. He probably gonna get his old cornerback. He's going to go back to the basics, and maybe this is something he needed because all his last fights have been really easy.
I think PBC tells him
easy.
No.
So, I mean, he's been winning easy. Not a fault of his own. He was doing what he's supposed to do, but he just thinking I'm going to knock this guy out. No, it doesn't work like that. Now, you need to go back to the lab, get back hungry because I did not see the hungry Tank that we normally see. So I think I'm just standing from a devil's advocate. This could have been a blessing in disguise. Sometimes you need to get popped in the mouth to really see what's going on. And maybe now this will get him back focused, get his mind back right, realize what the prize is. Boxing is my main. That's my money. Let me make sure that I am on point with this if I'm going to ever step in this ring again.
I think PBC says hell no.
Yeah, we gonna see you. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wiley. Make sure y'all go on YouTube, subscribe to that page, hit that like button. I want to thank Burn. I want to thank Hard War Bangers. In the meantime, in between time, we out. Peace.
In the meantime, in between.